All right, first of all, everyone is in store for a big treat today. So the next 30 minutes, we're delighted to engage a conversation with 4 of our panelists. So we've got 3 students, 1 alumnus, who really want to change the world in very different ways. And they are going to share their stories and provide their perspective on how I&E and value creation initiatives have really impacted their journey. So Len is going to be fielding questions in the Q&A box. And please submit your questions along the way. Or better yet, raise your hand and ask them directly. We would love to hear your voice. Just have to unmute yourself, and the more interaction from the audience, the better. So, okay, for panel introduction, real briefly before we get into some of the questions, Jeremy Trilling, a junior, majoring in robotics engineering and mechanical engineering. He is on a quest to fly free of fossil fuels by designing and building electric flying vehicles. He has prototyped a number of them and he really has a passion for really bringing together a community of makers. He's at that discovery phase and really finding and working on some big problems. Really exciting. Abigail Sullivan. She's a senior majoring in biomedical engineering and she is working on her MQP right now called Green Tech Bandages. And the team is developing 100% biodegradable bandage. Very exciting, a hot topic in the world. And they just recently submitted for a provisional patent. So looking forward to hearing your story as well. Very exciting. Finally, Raymond Magumbo is a master's student in the Boise Business School, majoring in IT, and is the founder and chief executive officer of Global Light. He recently launched a Taketi Rafiki business in Tanzania, a convenient and safe bus traveling booking service to address a problem of over 60,000 people face daily with long wait lines and exposure to theft and overpricing. And finally, Aaron Burt, our WPI alum, graduating with his PhD in material science and engineering in 2017, close to my heart. He was honored with being selected to the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30 class of 2018 for his outstanding accomplishments and just the positive societal impact that he has made in the area of advanced manufacturing. So really looking forward to really seeing, so now he's after 2 years after graduation, he's made a huge impact because now he's pivoted and has become the CEO of Solvis Global, a 40-person company specializing in providing manufacturing solutions for providing technology solutions for materials and manufacturing. Particularly focusing on additive manufacturing, machine learning, and sustainable materials processing. So, okay, so let's start kicking this off with questions. I would like to first address the first question to Jeremy. So Jeremy, so you've been actually working on this problem for a number of years now, all the way into high school, and has made a ton of progress. So since joining WPI, you've had an amazing partnership, participating in a number of the I&E activities. And I think it would be really great for the audience to hear why this problem is important and what's inspiring you and kind of what your approach is. Every time we talk, I am super inspired and always looking forward to it. So let us.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we can start with just what's behind me. We got a frame for an electric helicopter right behind me there I'm working on. Over there is a thrust stand for a jet engine that I'm planning on powering off of hydrogen. And I'm sitting in a flying car that I've flown a couple times. And, but yeah, so the reason why I'm working on this is the global climate crisis is near and dear. I'm young enough to hopefully be living for a while, and I want to enjoy the world as I see it now. And so right now, yeah, the production of carbon emissions from sort of the aviation sector, commercial aviation, is over 1 billion metric tons per year, and is not really being addressed currently by any technology solutions. And so I've been experimenting sort of in that discovery phase and maybe some invention phase, different possibilities that might be a good fit for this field, and have been able to work at a number of aviation startups to get an understanding of how these sort of solutions can be implemented in awesome teams that are working on solving these kinds of problems.
Very cool. So tell us, what's been some of the most valuable experiences that you had while participating in a lot of our programs? I know that Len mentioned Tinkerbox. We have some awesome mentors in residence. So what have been your learnings from that?
Totally. I think just rapidly iterating and getting to share my experiences with a lot of mentors has been really fun and engaging and exciting to keep on going, moving past failures, crashing things, no harm, just experimenting rapidly has been sort of the best part of it all, and learning what each of these sort of different methods of flight are maybe useful for. So figuring out what the value I can bring to each of the different sort of technologies. And I think the sort of all the technical skills that are developed through the actual coursework are really contextualized with this whole innovation and entrepreneurship, figuring out where the sort of skills that we're learning in class can be actually useful for solving good problems.
Have you pivoted at all in terms of your interest, or you just want to continue being this amazing mad scientist and just developing some really cool stuff, or do you have your sights set on being a serial entrepreneur and launching businesses?
Yeah, definitely right now is in the flaring phase. So I've been exploring various means of getting up into the air and staying up there for a long time. And I think that, it's going to be an exciting time. I think I'm excited to pursue some of these in the coming year for MQP. And so this has been sort of the focusing has begun to hone in on exactly what I'm going to spend a whole year working on. But
nice. Thank you, Jeremy. That was really awesome. So my next question is targeted at Abby. So Abby, first of all, thank you and for attending here and sharing your story. So what I understand about your story is that it started off with some encouraging arm twisting by some amazing and caring faculty. And now it seems like your life and maybe your career aspirations have been turned upside down. So could you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the value creation course, as well as why is the project you're working on with sustainable Band-Aids important?
Yeah, definitely. So originally for my MQP, I was going to be working on a biodegradable Band-Aid. And this idea sparked with the spinach leaves that Professor Gaudette works on, those decellularized spinach leaves. So taking that idea, we were thinking, what else could we do with this? So we ended up finding corn husks, and we decided that corn husks would be a great scaffold for a biodegradable Band-Aid. So going off of that, I ended up taking the value creation course with Len. And in that course, I learned so much, and the weekly iterations with the value creation forums that we did really helped change my product, and from lots of ideas from start to end. But we were able to come up with an idea that now we think could be very marketable. I'm also in the I-Core program now, so that's helping us with customer discovery. So that's been great, being able to do that as well. So yeah, we've been able to bring this to the point that we did receive a provisional patent, which is really exciting as well. And I've been talking about potentially either forming a company or selling off this idea. So it's been fun.
Wow, I see the sparkle in your eye when you talked about potentially starting up a business. So did you have those plans when you first started?
Definitely not.
Or was it the course that you actually took with Len and Glenn?
Yeah, I would say at the beginning I had no intention of starting a company. I was just thinking like any other student, senior, just finishing your MQP, just getting that done. But after the value creation course and those weekly meetings, like Len and Glenn both really encouraged the idea, and it has allowed us to take it so much farther than just an MQP.
Very cool. And what about your aha moment here? The learning moment that you got through this value creation course. What will stick with you forever?
I think the value factor analysis sheet that we filled out, that really stuck with me. Just seeing how your device or your product compares to other leading competitors out there is like really important. And it really truly shows you whether or not you do have value in your idea. So I think that's something that whether or not with these Band-Aids, I'll definitely take into my future.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. The value creation, the value factor analysis is a skill that is often overlooked. Thinking about how you position yourself in the marketplace relative to your competitors. So that's really awesome.
Definitely.
So Len, is there any? Let me take a pause here. Any questions so far in the chat?
None so far. I've been scanning the. Oh wait, we have one. Charlie Garland has his hand up.
Yeah. How you doing, guys?
Good.
I just hearing Abby's story is really fascinating and inspiring. The thought to use corn husks as Band-Aids. I'm really interested in that story and where that came about, because I grew up and am now living in Cape Cod in the southeastern part of Massachusetts, and around me is a tremendous culture, if you will, of cranberries. And some of you may know a product called Craisins that was developed by Ocean Spray, and that was developed in a very unique way, in a very innovative process, by using the leftover skin of cranberries after they squeeze the juice out of it to make cranberry sauce or cranberry juice, and they turned that product into, or that material, which was a waste product that was actually costing them money to get rid of, into something that was one of the most profitable products that they make now. And I'm just curious, did you come across the idea of using corn husks, as a leftover product, or was this something that was just pointed out to you? And that's like, it could be an amazing value creation, turning garbage into something useful.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually where the idea came from. We tested out originally a bunch of different things, from corn husk to onion skin, parsley leaves. There was a lot of things that did go into our original consideration, but we did like the fact that corn husk is such an agricultural waste product and it has no other functions right now. So that's definitely the reason we ended up choosing that as one of our leading competitors. And the reason we ended up going with that is after completing our mechanical testing, it had the most desired qualities for flexibility and other traits as well. So it just worked out perfectly that we kind of checked off 2 boxes with that.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So let's move on to Raymond Magumbo. So Raymond, so you have an exciting and funny story to share about your career dream to be an entrepreneur. So whenever you joined WPI, that dream was at its ultimate low. I remember you sharing that with me. 1.5 years later, you're now at your ultimate high of getting your product out to market. And you're doing it while completing your master's degree in May. So could you tell us about your story? What problem you're trying to solve? It's a global, important problem that we've talked about many times, and the notable challenges that you would like to share, which you have gone through a number of them.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the INE Center for organizing this event and inviting me to be one of the panelists. Thank you so much. And I would say that I'm here today because of what happened during the winter session of 2020. I remember I was having lunch and I was waiting to get into juggling session. And this lady called Christy came to my table and she was like, "Hey, you're welcome. There's a session going on." And I, "What's up with this session?" She told me this is fireside chat and you're welcome to join. I was like, "No, I haven't signed up for this session." She said, "Don't worry, just come." So I decided to attend that session, even though I did not sign up for it. When I was there, there was 3 speakers who were speaking. And one of the speakers said something that truly transformed my life, my business and entrepreneurship life. This guy was starting he said that he was having a startup, he was running a startup. And when I looked at his age, he was around, I think 60 or 50 something plus. By him being able to start a business at that age, it was such an inspiring story to me, because in actual sense, I was looking for something to do at that time. I had lost hope. I was into business, but I despaired. I lost hope. So let me take you back to 2015 when this journey started. In 2015, I discovered a problem in the transportation sector in Tanzania that I thought I could solve. By that time, there were over 40,000 people who were taking buses every day, and they had to travel over 20 kilometers as average to buy bus tickets. So as a result, they were wasting time. They were also wasting their money. And sometimes during high seasons, like during December, Christmas seasons, they could sometimes stood in queues for over 30 minutes. So my solution was actually to come up with an electronic platform that would help people to book and purchase their bus tickets using their mobile phones at their own comfort. So in 2016, we started to build, I organized a team of 5 people. So together we were 6, and we started building this platform for like 7 months. Then after that, we tried to run the business to make it work for like 2 years, but there were so many challenges and the business environment was not conducive. So in 2018, I gave up. It was a very frustrating moment for me. It was a very difficult moment. At that time, I had no plan of doing master's degree in my life. I thought my bachelor's degree was enough. But because of frustrations, I said, no, I need a break. Maybe I should go and take master's degree. So that's when I decided to come to the United States in 2019. Then when I came here, because I love entrepreneurship, I got to know about I&E. In 2020, I started attending their programs. I have attended several programs like Winter Session, Tinkerbox, Embark, Tech Advisors, Summer Goal Setting with Charlie, and Speaker Series. All those are different programs that I attended. But last year, as I was saying about Christy, when I attended that fireside chat, it really changed my life. When that guy was saying that he was starting a business at that age, I feel like, why am I giving up while I am actually so young? So I remember after that session, I went back home. I called my team. They're still in Tanzania, and I told them, guys, we gotta have to go back to business. We gave up, but this is the time for us to get into business. So after that, I took time. I went and see Karis. He's the one who actually encouraged me so much, and he told me, please apply for Tinkerbox. So I was able to apply for Tinkerbox. I got the seed funding, $2,000. Then we started to build the platform. We hired an Indian company. We added some more money, but we were able to build our platform. And now, at the moment, our platform is complete. We have had the government agents testing our system, and it has been approved as one of the companies that we can offer e-ticketing service in Tanzania, because at the moment, this business is being monitored and by the government. So we got an approval, and at the moment we are in the integration phase with the payment gateway. And after we are done with the payment, after we're done with the integration phase, then we'll be able to start the business. So that's my journey.
That was really awesome.
Fantastic.
So,
Are we as panelists allowed to ask questions to one another?
oh yes, it's wide open.
Absolutely.
We encourage
Raymond,
it.
Raymond, I wanted to ask a question about say, when you first started versus when you relaunched again, how much of your, hopeful success now is related to kind of the balance of timing and product versus product by itself? Was the country receptive to what you were trying to push prior to your more recent success? And is it a transition in kind of the acceptance of this technology that's led to your success, or has it just been raw stubbornness, being able to bang down doors and get in people's faces?
Yeah, so back then the environment was not conducive because most people were using manual systems, and the government had no focus of, make sure that maybe the systems like electronic systems are being used in the country. But at the moment, as we are talking, the government of Tanzania has made e-ticketing business to be mandatory in Tanzania. So that policy has already been passed in February, and all buses from February last month, February 7th, all buses were supposed to start using electronic system. So that has been like the best time for us because we are one of the companies that have been approved. So now actually our scope of the business at the moment, when we were starting in 2015, we thought like we were going to start small and keep on growing. But now we are starting at a very high level, targeting over, it depends on our strength, but we are able to, our target market now is Tanzania, the whole of Tanzania, which is around 21 million people every year. Because at the moment we have over 60,000 people taking buses every day.
So Raymond, so the government has approved a limited number of providers.
Exactly.
I believe it was around 10 or 12.
12.
So, yeah. So I found it very interesting in terms of how are you differentiating yourself relative to those other providers?
Thank you so much. First of all, at the moment as we are talking, we already have customers that we are going to sign a contract with, over 200 buses already. I think we'll be signing the contract probably next month. 200 buses of bus operators, they are waiting for us. How do we differentiate ourselves? Being in the business for so long, we have come to realize that customer care is a big thing in Tanzania. Like most businesses are still struggling with customer care. And I getting the experience, especially here in the United States, I've had a good time to learn about customer care. And that has been one of our differentiation factor that we are going to use. So we have some plans on how we're going to do customer care, and we're going to be very unique. That is number one. But number two, there's a group of people in Tanzania that are going to be eliminated by this system. They're going to be replaced. They are called agents. They're like distributors. But our platform has been designed in such a way that instead of replacing them, actually we are going to work with them. So they have been resisting other platforms. The reason that these guys have been waiting for us and we already have over 200 bus operators is because the best bus agents have influence. And now that they have seen that we are the only platform that is going to accommodate them, and they're going to work with them. We have some features in our system that are going to allow them to work with us. That's why they have said like, this is the best platform for us. So we don't want any other service provider except Ticket Rafiki, which is our product. Yeah.
Okay, other questions? This was awesome, Raymond. Any questions in the chat?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, we're good. We're keeping the time here. Okay, so the next round of questions, to finish this up, we have about 5 minutes. And what I would like from each of the panelists would be to talk, just if there was one piece of advice that you would give to our students based upon your experiences. Well, actually, before I go there, well, Aaron, I got distracted here. So So let me move forward with Aaron here. So Aaron, you got a PhD in material science, and you've made a big pivot since then. Got awards everywhere. Could you just tell us that story about, you have a big passion for changing the world with technology, and there's so many things that you're doing right now that's really making an impact with technology. So it would be great to hear just how did this happen? Because this was before the I&E Center actually was built. But you've been engaged at WPI very closely, and we very much appreciate that. So we would love to hear your story.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And I'll keep it quick because we are tight on time. But to be honest, it's less of a pivot and more of an evolution, right? So I came to WPI because I knew I wanted to know things. I thought materials was a great way to know things, right? Reason for that is I wanted to know how the world worked, why things fit together a certain way, how you can understand things. Because one of the things that I've found is if you can understand a system, if you can understand how the pieces fit together, then you know how to manipulate the system, you know how to work the system. And whether that's something that's on the business side or it's something that's on the physics side, the same thing holds true. And so that kind of led me naturally to actually Professor Duran Apelian, who has been a part of the WPI and now UCI ecosystem for many, many years, and just wanted to work with somebody who was experienced in this world of kind of learning and building systems and understanding how things fit together. And so, to be honest, it just kept kind of evolving from there, right? So I started with wanting to know the physics of things. I wanted to know how the business piece of things work together. And I started to understand how the physics worked. I started to understand how the business worked. And then from there, it was just, what do I do after this? Do I go work for somebody else? Do I have all these great ideas that I'm just going to sit on the table? No, I said, let's figure out a way to kind of marry this kind of passion for research and development in the physical and materials world with a passion for helping people and creating value, and kind of from there, Solvus Global was born. So it's really out of this kind of inspiration to take all of the hard R&D work that we do at places like WPI and get that translated into something that has meaning, that has, as we're talking about here, value and innovation. And it's really, it all comes back to identifying that right problem. Really, what is the right problem, and then making sure that you've identified the right solution along the way. So we're a little bit of a different business because we're not solving one problem that's a very, very direct problem. We're solving a different problem that's about how you create sustainable innovation. And so that's, like I said, it's an evolution that I've enjoyed, and WPI has been a key part of that. Everybody from, again, Duran to Wally to even the folks on this call have been instrumental in leading us there.
So Aaron, were there some really significant hurdles that you had to jump through hoops to get to where you're at in terms of the business, whether your career?
Yes.
All right. So
which one do you want? So I've got one where somebody told me I would never amount to anything. I've got another where we were, I don't know, a few days from being shut down. I've had, nearly missed payrolls that we've had to make up. I've had fire departments that want to shut us down. I've had competitors that want to come across and tell us that, we're going to take you over. I've had multi-billion-dollar companies come in and pump and dump for as much information as they can get, and then they go out and raise another $1 billion. So yeah, they're everywhere, but you just keep rolling.
And what's interesting is these are a lot of big problems, and yeah, they don't teach you this in the university. So are there some skills or mindset that you think is super critical, it kind of falls into the kind of the timeless transferable skills. It's more than the domain knowledge because you're pivoting like almost every day with problems you're encountering.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes down to being able to filter out the noise. So there's a lot of things coming at you from all directions, and you have to know how to ask the right question to get to the problem. Nobody, very, very rarely does anybody actually tell you what the problem is that they're trying to solve. Because if they knew what the problem was, they would probably be trying to solve it for themselves. So more often than not, you have to learn how to ask the right questions to figure out what is the problem. And then once you know the problem, then you can start to figure out what the solution might be. And sometimes, the problem is technology. Sometimes the problem is timing. And that's why I asked Raymond the question. So I was just curious what made the difference for him there. And I've run into the same thing. There's technologies that the timing is just not right. You're too early, you're too late. And so I think knowing how to ask the right questions at the right time is really, really important.
Yeah, that's very powerful. Any other questions for the audience?
Yeah, Stuart Pesky had a question for Abby. And it was related to the biohazard issue, if there is one with the Band-Aids. Stuart, you want to ask your question, please?
Yes, I was just concerned with whether throwing gauze into whatever biodegradable pot you use, whether there's any remaining biohazard associated with however that gauze was used.
Yeah, we're actually we're able to come up with a new solution to gauze using a different polymer. So using electrospinning, we're able to use something that's also derived from corn that can also replace the functionality of gauze. So that will eliminate the waste associated with that.
And when it biodegrades, any nasty bacteria or anything else that was present during its use goes away also?
So we haven't completed our cytotoxicity testing and biocompatibility testing yet, but that's on track for D-term. So I think that will be more information to come.
D-term, okay.
Yep.
I'll ask you again in 3 months.
Yep.
Thanks, Len.
Sure. Any other questions, folks, from anybody? Let's see, I'm just scanning the audience here to see if anybody has their hands up.
All right, so
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Stu Kazin.
Right. To Jeremy, on the air flight there, you either concern yourself with the frame itself or a power source. So obviously it looks like you're dealing with the frame. Are you doing anything in the power source?
Could you say the question again? Is the question around what the power source is, or?
Yeah, in other words, are you doing anything in the, looking at different power sources or?
Yeah. So in terms of this helicopter, it's from it is an Enstrom 280 and is normally powered by a piston engine with 100 low leaded fuel is burned inside of it. And right now, what you see is a very large battery pack. About 1,400 pounds of lithium-ion batteries are in there, and the motor is up on the table there, which is able to provide more power than the equivalent gasoline engine. So these are all being developed. This particular project right there is sort of what I'm working here at Beta Technologies, is a company up in Burlington, Vermont. So for that particular one, it's sort of part of their whole flying car ecosystem. But yeah.
We have another question. Ken DeSabris.
Yeah, thank you. So I think my question is more kind of fundamental in the infrastructure that's needed to support innovation. So how do the companies or organizations or institutions set up themselves to ensure they're enabling innovation can occur within the institution? So it's not so much individuals working to solve a particular problem or an idea that they have, but what's needed within the companies or the organizations to make sure that that's can be achieved within the organization.
Actually, Kurt, would you want to answer that? Because having led the most innovative organization probably this century or less, whatever.
Well, I don't want to say too much, but you start off by believing that people want to accomplish and can accomplish. And if you give them the right skills and bring them together so they collaborate, it's amazing what they do. We beat IBM by 7 years with Siri, even though we're only 2,500 people. So imagine we're beating a company like that with all their resources. And the reason was they don't collaborate, and we did. So what Wally started off with and what Curtis has said and Len has said is really the foundations. If you can get people to understand some of the fundamentals and then get them together to work together, it looks like miracles, but it's not. It's hard work with the right kind of human values and the right kind of skills.
And that's why WPI, by collaborating and taking down all these barriers, is going to beat every other university, including the ones in Cambridge.
Well,
Both
they collaborate.
So,
Well, it's
Serious.
it might sound strange, but it actually, the power of collaboration is it's such an amplifier that it's true. If you can get people to do it, miracles happen. Really, they're not miracles, but they look like it.
So, yeah. Well, thank you. And I guess I have a follow-on question too. Of a lot of discussions around innovation deal with taking an idea and creating a product out of it at the end. But before that, there's usually some sort of, we've used the term discovery this evening. There's some underlying basic sciences or very early research that's early applied type research that may not be directly applicable to a product yet. How does that fit into the bigger ecosystem or infrastructure to ensure that those functions still happen to support the products that will come down the road from those things?
Maybe I should answer that one too. So there's a concept that we teach. We call it colliding exponentials. And you look out 5 or 10 years and you ask, where are the different technologies going and how do they converge? And then you ask yourself, when they converge, what are they going to open up? So high definition television, which is over my shoulder, that's the Emmy for that, was the convergence of a family of technologies that we realized were going to happen if we did the right work. Siri was the same thing. Intuitive Surgical, that's an $80 billion company. That was the same thing. It's the same thing over and over again. But it all goes back, by the way, to collaboration, because you're putting all these pieces together if you're going to solve problems like that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? This was just a really awesome discussion. I know both Len and I are looking forward to the follow-up events that we plan. So with that, I'm going to hand this back over to Wally to provide some closing remarks.
Thank you, Curtis. I have to say, I dreamt of this moment, but the reality is better than the dream. It's just so exciting to see the wonderful ideas from our students, those that are here now and those that have been here before. I want to take this opportunity to thank Kurt for his inspiring keynote and his modesty, because I find that a lot of times, you don't fully appreciate the greatness of the work that people do, especially when they're modest, but you sure appreciate their character. And so thank a lot, Kurt, for your support of innovation and entrepreneurship and value creation at WPI, and thanks for those inspiring words. I was really excited by the students, and I have to say, you guys are the reason we do what we do, but you make it all worthwhile. And I love the ways that you're pursuing your ideas. The one thing I've learned in life is you become your attitude. So keep these attitudes that you have, and you become what you imagine, but you have to have endurance and perseverance. and a commitment to a cause. And I think we're so lucky to have this team so focused on you with the different things you're doing. You know, from Raymond to Abby to Jeremy to Aaron. Thank you for doing what you're doing. You really inspire us to do what we're trying to do. I want to thank really everyone that stayed up for this. It's been exciting to see our board members, our administrators, our staff, our faculty, also committed. And in particular, I want to acknowledge a few people before we finish. Donna Stock, thank you for making sure we got this right. I really, really appreciate your honesty and how you shaped this. Thanks very much. I want to thank Lucine Baxarian for working behind the scenes to organize us in different ways, Krista de Jesus. And then behind the scenes, the real architect of all of this has been Rachel Roy. So thank you, Rachel, for just your masterful skills in keeping us organized. And I really want to thank all of you for staying up so late. I look forward very much to the next in the series. And I thank everybody that's been involved in this launch. So thanks very much. Thanks, Curtis, for steering this. Really appreciate it. Take care, everybody, and please stay safe.
Thanks,
Thank
Wally.
you. Good
Great
night.
job.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Wally. Thanks, y'all. Have a great evening.